I bring you greetings in the matchless name of my Lord God and soon coming Savior, Jesus Christ. Hello, this is the Honey Badger, Reverend Bob Lico. Excuse me, bringing you yet another update of an update on the globally understated pandemic, which is ongoing and has been for well over a year, called HPAI. Learn that acronym. It's going to become as well known as COVID-19. Hide and watch. HPAI stands for Highly Pathogenic Avian Influenza. And on the Honey Badger Bob YouTube channel, honestly, I have been the only person that I'm aware of. I'm sure there have to be others, I certainly hope so, that are sounding the alarm and encouraging people to take appropriate steps now while they can regarding this understated pandemic. And I underlined and read the word pandemic because for some reason, well, I understand the reason, but I don't feel it's valid. The powers that be in our governments are very slow to sound the alarm and call something a pandemic. Something might be an epidemic, might be a localized issue, but we don't want to call stuff pandemic. Remember all the problems that the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control and NIH and our own leaders in the government and in the European Union and the United Nations and all of these things couldn't agree when COVID was global and people were getting sick and dying in every country of the world. They just had a long time, and I know we have very short memory spans today due to the fluoride in the water and our poor diets and the cosmic rays and the demons all around us and the fact that we're getting older and everything working against us. People don't remember. Well, let me remind you, there was a huge kerfuffle over finally acknowledging that COVID was a pandemic. Well, they're not acknowledging that HPAI is a pandemic either. And yet, as I have demonstrated through using really nothing more than recent headlines from the newspapers called from all over the world, that this is indeed a genuine global pandemic that is impacting the lifestyles and eating and survival of people in many nations around the world. The highly pathogenic avian influenza is global. Now, these are just simply 5 recent headlines. In every one of these broadcasts, you're going to see different headlines. I have well over 100 headlines dealing with this alone from all over the world. So don't tell me that it is not a pandemic. It is. Here we go. First article. Bird flu, I got fly, found at Southern Ontario poultry farm. So we've got Canada, and it's in British Columbia as well. Philippines logs new bird flu outbreaks, plural. The Philippines, a long way away from Canada. Totally different climate, a tropical climate. Whereas Ontario is far more of a temperate climate. Article by John Craven. UK, that's the United Kingdom for you and Rio Linda, flocks badly hit by costly bird flu outbreak. Oh yeah, it's all over the United Kingdom as well. Nigeria. Nigeria loses over 2 million birds in 391 farms. And it's spreading. So we have Canada, up here in the north, we have the Philippines and Asia, the UK kind of in between, Canada, UK, the Philippines. You go down south of UK, you've got Nigeria. Next to you, of course, Britain right over across the pond there. France has lost 10 million birds culled in a massive flu outbreak. So these are millions and millions of chickens and turkeys and doves and ducks and quail that are being culled all over the world. It is spread to over half of the states in America in just a couple of months. HPAI is rapidly spreading across America. These are reports garnered from this morning. Couple, I think two are older ones that I've already covered. The rest of these, best of my knowledge, are new. Avian flu uncovered in a popular turkey brand supply chain. That is Jennie-O and Hormel. You like your Hormel canned turkey chili? It's going to go up in cost. Cases of highly pathogenic bird flu detected in Delaware and Michigan. It's already been in several counties in Michigan and is spreading in my state. I live in Michigan. The price of chicken has already gone up due to COVID, supply chain issues, environmental problems, the drought. Now we have the war, and we have this spreading pandemic. So this is a plus one. Bird flu found in #1 turkey state. Bye-bye to turkeys. Latest Iowa bird flu cases forces killing of 250,000 chickens. First case of new avian flu strain detected in Pennsylvania, a new strain. So we've got Delaware, Michigan, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Nebraska's third case of bird flu confirmed in flock of 400,000 broiler chickens. Bye-bye, 500,000 broilers. I have another article, well, there's one here. Depopulation continues in Wisconsin's egg producers. Eggs are going up as well because you kill off the chickens. Guess what? Folks in Rio Linda, I loved Rush Limbaugh, miss him. But for you good people in Rio Linda, I am the pastor of Rioville. Rush was the mayor. I guess Dan Bongino has assumed that position as the mayor of Rioville. But nonetheless, I am the pastor of Rioville. Dennis Prager is the rabbi. But depopulation continues at egg producers. You kill the female chickens, folks, there aren't any eggs. Okay. Death toll rises to over 12 million chickens and turkeys in just the second month of America's horrific bird flu pandemic. That's from Zero Hedge, very reputable news reporting organization. So what do we got? Over 12 million chickens and turkeys so far. And that's a little of a, a report might be a few days old. These numbers are changing and going up rapidly, as I have already covered. When they find one chicken dead of the bird flu, and you might have 1 million chickens, I am serious as I'm sitting here, they will kill all of the chickens. Just that simple. It's just that deadly. And I have already covered how there have been 2 or 3 cases of this jumping from chickens to humans. This is the H5N1 virus. Look it up. Don't have to make stuff up. Not selling fear. Not selling anything. I don't sell or monetize any of these YouTube presentations or anything that I put up. I don't ask for money through this venue. Not about that. I'm not making money off people suffering. And believe me, people all over the world are suffering and are going to suffer. And in America. That's why I keep telling you that are listening, go out and buy your chicken now. If your freezer is full, buy canned chicken. Buy another freezer. Get a small chest upright freezer. Go to a pawn store. Go to a used appliance store. Good luck finding freezers by the end of this summer. You may not be able to get them now. We have 3 at home. And I don't know what the current status is, whether you can still pick them up. If you can, get them, pack them. I've already dealt with in several broadcasts. Watch them, please. If you love your family, if you're paying attention to what's happening in the world, please watch these broadcasts, especially the one that I just recently did on beef is going bye-bye. Chicken is going bye-bye. Pork is going bye-bye. Meat, folks, the meat animals are being removed globally from us. And I've demonstrated this and proven this beyond any shadow of doubt. Please pay attention and please act appropriately. Highly pathogenic avian influenza brings with it the following results. Now, this is a very troubling article by the Ecologist. And you may say, well, so what? Who cares what these ultra greenies think? Well, here's some bad news, folks. The people that happen to govern the planet are ultra greenies. Now, I directly quote from this article. If governments are serious about reducing human dependence on planet-polluting animal-derived foods, these should be heavily taxed, just like cigarettes, petrol, and diesel. Full stop. Let me comment. Notice, if governments are serious about reducing human dependence on planet-polluting, animal-derived foods, then they need to tax us. And this is being seriously discussed in several nations currently. Just like it's like a sin tax on, I'm surprised they didn't put alcohol down there. Obviously, the people doing the article drink, but they put in cigarettes, gas, and diesel. Well, people do not need, well, they're addicted, they have a physical need, but we could do away with cigarettes, but we need the gas and diesel. I don't think they should look at that as a taxable item. Maybe cigarettes and alcohol. But anyway, the point's this. They are seriously considering, because every government in the world is broke, nobody's running in the black, everybody's running in the red, they're all broke. Let's tax the meat eaters. And this will achieve our goal. Number one, we put an onerous tax on every egg that a chicken lays, or every chicken wing or hamburger you buy. We make that tax really bad. Then one, people will not be able to afford it. They're going to get ticked off, and we will move them over to the plant-based, cell-based, insect-based meats and proteins that are being rapidly developed now at the cost of tens of millions of dollars by the multinational corporations. All right, let me continue with their article, and I continue now. Globally, the average person, now get this, will need to eat 75% less beef, 90% less pork, and half the number of eggs. Period. Let me comment on this. When I said meat is going bye-bye, I know some of you saw the title, and maybe you didn't even listen to the broadcast. You just saw the title and laughed, said, oh, that honey badger, he's at it again. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just panicking. I'm not panicking at all. As I just told you, I've got 3 freezers filled with meat. I've got a huge, long shelf filled with nothing but canned meats. We're well positioned for at least the next year, year and a half, maybe 2 years. And we have seeds to plant. What will we do after 2 years? Well, hopefully things may have changed. The Lord may have returned. We may have died. Or we'll just do without meat. But look at the pusher. Globally, the average person, this is globally, folks, not in America, not in Nebraska, not in the UK. This is the globe. This is the globalist, United Nations kind of New World Order people saying the average person will need to eat 75% less beef, 90% less pork. Tell that to the Chinese, which pork makes up a majority, pork and rice, their diet. Half of the number of eggs. I continue the article. The Union of Concerned Scientists list meat eating as the second most serious environmental hazard facing the earth. I bet you didn't know that. I just learned that this morning. The Union of Concerned Scientists, no doubt a bunch of vegan weenies, not even weenies, they don't even eat weenies, snowflakes, list meat eating as the second most serious environmental. That's worse than CO2. That's worse than cow farts. That's worse than radioactivity. That's worse than human overpopulation. That's worse than anything. It's the second most serious environmental hazard facing the earth, not facing humanity, mind you, because we've all eaten meat since we got off the ark. But it's the second most, so they're just stating this. Next article. Mission Impossible, persuading meat lovers to buy fakes. Yeah, there have been a ton of articles on getting over the ick factor of eating insects. Well, when you have a maggot burger and a larva pupae on a stick on the Barbie, yeah, there's some ick factors, some psychological factors going on, the whole issue of humanity and the image of God going on. There's all kind of things going on in your head. Persuading meat lovers to buy fakes. And oh, they'll do it one way or the other. Either get rid of meat, which is going away. Either they cannot stop these various pandemics. They're trying to, but they haven't been able to. So the meat's just going to go away because it's going to die off. And or what is left and survives is going to be highly taxed. And only the very rich are going to be able to afford it. And the rest of us are being not so subtly shifted over to plant-based and cell-based and insect-based foods and proteins. Listen to what I'm telling you. Next article. A company just took a major step closer to animal-free eggs. We don't need chickens. We can make the eggs. I stated on the Bye-Bye Beef presentation yesterday that now they can make collagen, fake meat, fake collagen, fake dairy. We do not need cows at all. We do not need chickens at all. We can make fake chicken. We can make fake eggs. What else do we get from chickens? Eggs and meat. Last article here. Why legendary chef Andrew Zimmern, never heard of him, is really into vegan chicken. Well, I would imagine that I would like to look at his bank statement. And when he's come out with this statement, I would like to check either the week before or the week or 10 days after and see if he got any large checks from the people or corporations that are making the plant-based chickens, and there are many of them. In other words, was this man paid off to say that? Does he really believe it? Perhaps he does. But the point is this. He is a legendary chef, people. He knows food. You're just a poltroon. You're just one of the proletariat. You're just some sophomoric mass eater of dead meat, dead animals, yuck, cancer-causing foods. This man's a legend. And he's really into vegan chicken, so it must be good. That's the point. Moving on. A Limpopo entrepreneur started canning chicken feet and chicken necks in the lockdown. Now he's gotten signed with a conglomerate chain of grocery stores called ShopRite. Folks, I don't know where you're from, okay? And I don't mean to be insulting to anybody's culture or upbringing, but where I'm from, we never ate the chicken neck and we never ate chicken feet. One, there's maybe a little meat on the neck. I guess you could use the necks and feet perhaps in making a soup stock, maybe. I wouldn't use the feet. The neck has some sinew and maybe a little flesh on the sides of the two sinews, just like a human neck. Not a lot to eat there. But waste not, want not. This is the point that I'm getting from this, is that things have gotten so bad that the parts of the chicken that were just routinely discarded, maybe ground up into animal food for dogs or cats or something, I don't know. But he's canning them now, and human beings are buying chicken feet and necks And I bet they're not inexpensive either. Now, here's a hit piece, next article. Is chicken healthy? Why, the truth may surprise you. No, it's not healthy for you. Of course not. This is again a hit piece. But we have always been told in the 70s and 80s that chicken was healthier for you than red meat. At least the chicken industry told us this. And then pork came along, the other white meat. Is it healthy? No, no, no. But what is healthy? Next article. This new vegan chicken is made to rival Popeyes, and it's rolling out everywhere. Yeah, you can go to every mass chain now in America and in Europe, I'm pretty sure, probably in Asia, whether it's a McChicken thing from McDonald's, Popeye, Wendy's, Tim Horton, all of the chains now have plant-based foods. Next article. This is an older one. I've covered this already. The future of food. Jellyfish, farmed insects, 3D printed meat. And it's got a question mark. No, this is ongoing. As I've already expressed, millions and millions and millions are being sent into every one of these three areas. Now here's another hit piece. For our eggs and dairy, female animals suffer cruelty. Well, I got news for you, Youth K Awaz, Youth Kai Awaz reporting agency. We kill the male animals and eat them. If you have some chickens on your property and they're egg-laying chickens, we only buy, of course, organic free-range meat and chicken and eggs. Those animals don't suffer cruelty at all. They're very well taken care of. They're highly prized. But the hit piece is that, look, when you go out and buy eggs or you drink some cow milk, you're hurting animals. I just want you to know that. We covered that yesterday about don't you feel guilty about eating meat? And don't you have an ethical problem eating beef? We've covered all these psychological ploys that are set out, the little psyops, trying to eat away at the weak-minded masses of people. So we're seeing this, the point of this broadcast, very simply say, this is a global spreading pandemic. It's not an epidemic. This is a pandemic. It's all over the United States, Europe, the Philippines, South America. It's in every country almost now. Millions of birds have already been culled around the world and in America. Chicken prices, turkey prices, duck prices, egg prices, quail, all are going up. And if they don't stop it, chickens are simply just going to be unavailable and unaffordable. This is an extremely serious pandemic, my friends. And it's so serious that I think they're afraid to cover it until it's just simply unavoidable. I mean, there are articles, obviously, I'm culling these articles out as they call the chickens, I'm culling the articles. But they're not found on the front page and on the top of the center or bottom fold. They're going to be found in the interior of the paper in a little section of the Ag News, probably under the horoscope or the Lonely Hearts advertisements. Because there's not a huge alarm going on amongst the population. And as soon as the 100th monkey jumps, you watch everyone just flood to the stores and start grabbing everything they can. Well, that day's coming. It'll come before the end of summer, I think. Now, in the last several broadcasts, I've dealt with the topic of a little bit of asymmetrical warfare. And how if I was an enemy against a state, and I was really, truly their enemy, I wanted the destruction of that nation and their people, I would most certainly pay someone or simply send one of my operatives, be somebody on a suicide mission. It doesn't really matter. And there are more than enough wackos out there in every nation to do this. Simply cross the border. Here's the dirty little secret. my parents were diplomats, and I grew up in Russia in the embassy for a few years, my sister, and we all had diplomatic passports. It's nice having a diplomatic passport. Why is that? Well, because I could have done anything in Russia and I would not have gone to jail for it. They would, as they ended up doing, kick us out of the country for spying, but that's another story. But they can't arrest you. Yeah, it would be nice to have that type of a passport to be able to just go into a country and they can't search your bags. So it'd be very easy for an enemy nation with a viable embassy to simply bring vials of African swine fever over to America, rent a car, go out to Iowa, drive by a pig farm, toss it in where all the pigs are just milling around or just spill it or whatever. It's aerosolized. And all of our pigs can die out in about 6 months because there's no cure for it. It's just like the avian flu. You have to kill the whole herd if one hog gets it. African swine flu, folks, wiped out about 75% of the Chinese pork, and the African armyworm wiped out a significant amount of their crops. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if we were responsible to that in a response to their releasing COVID. COVID was released. Definitely, that was chemical warfare against the world. China wants to become the hegemon, but they've lost the mandate of heaven. You have to really study the history of China. Well, nonetheless, I'm getting off track. But I said African swine flu will eventually come to America. It's not here yet. I do not see how we are going to avoid it. It is in many, many other nations, as I have covered. However, I came across this article today, something that I have never heard about, it made my spidey senses and my little, my favorite Martian antennae go up on the back of my head and beep, 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 focus in on this. I had never heard of PRRS 144. And the fact that it is still a problem in southeastern Minnesota. And PRRS stands for Porcine Reproductive and Respiratory Syndrome, which is so viral. If you read the article, go to the Brownfield Ag News, the man that even looks to see if herds have been impacted by this in that area, he will not even drive his pickup truck onto the property, parks it out off of the property's land and walks to those animals. And I assume either washes or disinfects or burns his clothing when he's done. And this has killed a lot of pigs in Minnesota. So all I'm saying is, in part of this say goodbye to meat, this could become a much wider problem. Most certainly if ASF, African swine fever or flu, ever comes to America, we're in serious, serious trouble. We already are. We just don't know it. You hide and watch and see what happens by the end of this spring and summer with our crops, with our weather, with the ongoing drought, with this spreading pandemic of avian bird flu. And I hope we don't get the African swine flu, but we haven't been spared anything else. And so honestly, under the judgment of God, and America is most seriously under his severe judgment, we're a wicked people. We need to repent. We need to turn and come back to the foundation of our nation, which was at least at one point somewhat of a Christian foundation. But I do not see that happening. I do not see any worldwide revival. I do not see any tremendous spiritual turning back to the Lord here in America. I don't think so. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But nonetheless, I simply want to make anyone who's listening aware that this is a global epidemic and that it is spreading very, very rapidly in America. And I can't urge you strongly enough to prepare. I could say it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, but right now it's raining. And I don't know if the door of the ark is still open or not, but it's not too late to begin to prepare. When the panic hits, and it will hit this spring and summer, the shelves will become empty of everything, not just toilet paper. It's coming, and it's here. Let's prepare and not despair.